Again in verse 19 of Psalm 78. Yea, they spake against God, and they said, can God furnish a table in the wilderness? I just simply want to use for a subject title tonight, a table in the wilderness. Israel asked, can God furnish a table in the wilderness? Bless you. Thank you for standing. You may be seated. I suppose that one reason I might find it easy to talk about a table, because we're very limited in places to go out to eat during this pandemic. I know there's no place like home for eating. It's clean. You can prepare it and season it how you like. You can have as much as you like at home. But sometimes we like to go out to eat because there's no dishes to wash. And there's no tables to clean up. So we all like to go out to eat sometimes. I suppose we all have our favorite restaurants, our favorite dishes, our favorite desserts, and our favorite places to go out to eat. So, because of that, sometimes it's a challenge when you're going to a new place, through a new place, in a new area, to find a good place to eat. Sometimes you just have to guess. And sometimes it's a surprise. Sometimes it's a pleasant surprise. And then sometimes it's a real surprise. You have learned that the sign outside doesn't necessarily testify to the truthfulness of the food that's served on the inside. So there are a few general favorites. People are familiar with the name Cracker Barrel. That's pretty popular across most of America. In the South, we have a restaurant called Logan's. Outback is pretty popular. Texas, there are places called Buc-ee's. If you've been to Buc-ee's, that's a service station, a gasoline station. Has 120 gasoline pumps at a Buc-ee's, not 10 or 12 or 25 or 30 or 40, have up to 120 or more. It's a unique place to stop and if you're needing to get fuel and maybe to go in and find the varieties of foods that you can eat. Of course, if you're going to really want your favorite, you have to go to where your favorite is being served. If you want an old-timer's breakfast, then you need to go to Cracker Barrel. Although, actually, the old-timer's popularity has now been replaced with a breakfast called the Grandma's breakfast. That is now the very popular breakfast. If you want to enjoy blooming onions, then you need to go to Outback. You're not going to get blooming onions at McDonald's. You're not going to get good fajitas at Taco Bell. Some things you only get in certain places. Now it's hard to find a table anywhere to get something to eat. Drive-thrus are now the fastest growing restaurant style. Curb service, takeout, home delivery. So it's getting harder and harder just to find a table to eat. Psalm 78 is a very unique song. It is a song of backsliding. It is a song of defiance. song of disobedience. Psalm 78. There are 31 sins that are named in the 79 verses that Israel committed directly against God. They were not sins against people. It was not stealing or murdering or immorality, but they were sins that directly affronted God. The Bible said they tempted him. They refused him. They lied to him. 31 sins against God. However, in that same chapter, there are 79 miracles and answered prayers. 31 sins, 79 blessings, deliverances, miracles, and wonders that God did in the same chapter. There is a blessing for every verse, and there are twice as many benefits as there were their sins. I would tell you today, we get twice as much as we deserve, at least. And Israel got twice as much. In all of their sins, there's some things that is mentioned. It said they flattered God by their false repentance, false confessions. They provoked him. They didn't intend to change. They wanted only to take with the consequences of their sowing. This is what's interesting. In all of those verses, there is only one question that is asked. It's a long, long chapter. There are a lot of things that happen. There may have been more questions, but there was only one asked. So to me, that was important. Why is only one question included in all of their sins? That one question was the verse we read. They said, can God furnish a table in the wilderness? I'm not sure why they asked that particular question, or why is it a part of the Song of David. So I began to wonder and look at what they said, God's reaction, and what happened. And this is what I think. One, the wilderness is a test of faith. Then and now, the wilderness is a test of faith. And God knew the desert. He knew the path. He saw their praise and their singing, but he also knew their hidden doubt and unbelief. So the desert was a test of faith. Can I tell you that sometimes we walk through deserts? We don't understand why things may be dry, why things may be barren, why the road may be rocky. But I know that God knew their unbelief and the doubt. And if they were to endure the Philistines and survive Babylon and overcome the Antichrist, they had to have unshakable faith. And I'll tell you what's important in these last days, that you and I have unshakable faith. Because the devil will try to steal your faith and cause your faith and your hope and your expectancy to be shaken. Whether it is in the Garden of Eden, when the serpent tried to or succeeded in causing Eve to doubt, or in modern day warfare to instill doubt and uncertainty and fear in the enemy. In fact, Winston Churchill made a statement in World War II, quite an interesting statement. He said the primary purpose of a leader is to instill hope in their followers. He said that in the middle of a war. And he said, we have to keep hoping. We have to keep believing. We have to keep expecting, because you've got to reach that place that your faith becomes unshakable. I preach to you today, in this year, a long time from when Psalm 78 actually happened. And I'm preaching about a nation called Israel that cannot be shaken, cannot be moved. They believe in their coming Messiah. They believe their land was given to them by God. They believe they are going to survive no matter what happens to them. They believe in that old law of Moses, and they cling to it. And part of where they are today was as a result of the wildernesses that they walked through. And your faith today being strong and unshakable is part of the reason that is because you have walked through valleys. You have walked through deserts. You have been through situations. And you will fight a better fight. And you will have a better advantage against the enemy who knows he has already lost when you learn unshakable faith in your wilderness. And then when you come out of that wilderness, you can say like David said in Psalm 136, he led his people through the wilderness. It's on the other side of the wilderness that we're able to say, hey, God led me through. So I preach to you tonight, if you can trust God in the wilderness, you'll be able to face Goliath. You'll be able to walk through a fiery furnace. You'll be able to sleep in a den of wild lions. The wilderness is what makes a nation solidify and grow and be strong and trust and survive in hard times. And the test and the wilderness that you go through now, you will come out of them stronger if we learn to trust God. Can God furnish a table in the wilderness? When our faith weakens, we tend to forget what God has done and that He can do it again. When our faith is strong, we tend to remember what God has done. Faith is incredibly powerful, but it has very poor hindsight. By now, Israel had forgotten the miracles of the Red Sea, the plagues of Egypt, the water out of a rock at a place called Elim, and the wilderness was mastering them. Conquer the wilderness, and don't let the wilderness conquer you, because you've got to look around and realize God is giving us twice as much as we're giving Him. He's doing a whole lot more for us than we are doing for Him. He is giving us long suffering. He is giving us shelter. He is providing. Paul said, New Testament church, call to remembrance the former days in which you endured a great fight of afflictions. You already defeated Egypt. You already marched out of the world. You already overcome hardships. Remember, God brought you this far. He has fed you with angels' food. He has fed you with manna and supplied your needs, because if you trust Him now, you will be able to praise Him in the promised land if you can trust Him in the wilderness, because the distance ahead of us is not as far as the distance that we have already come. And the purpose of the Sabbath was to stop one day a week and sit down and say, look how far we've come. God's been good. Let's talk about God. Let's talk about the promises. Let's talk about the land we conquered. And that's why we gather together on our Sabbath day to say, we made it another year. We made it another valley. We won another fight. We are still strong. Our faith is not shaking. And we share and remember that's what we do.
Ah, yes.
Can God furnish a table in the wilderness? Their question not only doubted God, but it questioned Him. It challenged Him. It affronted God. It wasn't just a matter of doubt. It was a matter of disputing his ability. And it said, we don't want curbside manna. We don't want carry-out blessings. We don't want home delivery every morning. We want a table. We want more than you're providing. The Bible said he fed them corn from heaven. Men did eat angels. He opened the doors of heaven and poured them out manna. But they said, we want a table. You see, manna was also called bread. But they didn't want bread. They wanted something a little select. They wanted quail. They wanted meat. Bread is generally free at many restaurants. But quail was select. Its choice, higher value. Israel not only doubted God, but they were not satisfied with what he gave them. Woo. I know this is a very exciting lesson. They were not satisfied with what he gave them. They got mercy, but they wanted quail. They got forgiven, and they got victory. But they said they wanted the garlic and onions from Egypt. And when God parted the Red Sea, this is what the scripture said. They provoked him by the sins, and he led them safely. He fed them with manna from heaven. He led them by a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. He forgave their iniquity, and they lied to him, and they mocked him and said, can he furnish a table in the wilderness? Whatever he did was never enough. And that becomes a sign of the last days. Paul said in the last days men would be thankful. I preach to you tonight, don't lose your gratitude. Don't lose your appreciation. If you don't have the promised land yet, be thankful for manna. Be thankful for corn from heaven. Guard your gratitude. Because if we ever lose our gratefulness, we get hungry for Egypt again. And they didn't want to be fed, they wanted to be catered to. Oh my. This is just a Bible lesson. We're in the wilderness, and if we are faithful in the wilderness, there will be a catering day. This is not catering day yet. We're not to promised land yet, but there is a promised land. There is a marriage supper. Luke chapter 12:37, Jesus said, blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find them watching. And I've always had trouble understanding the scripture. Verily I say unto you, he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and he will come forth and serve him, or serve them. I just simply tell you, if we will serve him in the wilderness, he will serve us in the resurrection. I just tell you again, what we have now is not all that's coming. It's just not all coming right now. It's coming tomorrow. It's coming down the road. This is not the promised land. We are serving God because he brought us out of Egypt. But he just didn't bring us out. He is taking us someplace. There will be a table. I said there will be a marriage supper. There will be more on the table than you can ever imagine. There will be more on the table than you can ever dream of. There will be no pain. There will be no suffering. There will be no hurting. There will be unimaginable joys and delights. And Paul said, the things that I saw, I cannot even utter them. But right now, trust him in the wilderness. Worship him in the dry days. Walk with him when you don't know where you're going. Hold on to his hand. Then they just didn't say, can God prepare a table? They used the words, can God furnish a table? Because they wanted more than a table. They wanted the luxuries of the wedding feast. Furnish us a table. Without the journey through the wilderness to get to the wedding. You and I cannot make success and luxuriousness and grandeur happen in this life. There have been too many people who tried and failed miserably. But if we will trust Him, He can furnish, He can supply all of our needs according to His riches in glory. That is what He has promised that He will do. But I just simply tell you, He will do more than that. After a while, He will furnish a table. And God will put more than we can ever imagine on that table for us. And they said, and it was the one question in the chapter, can God furnish a table? Implying that somebody else could. Implying that somebody else could really make it grand. This is what God was furnishing: the blood of the Lamb. The blood of the Lamb on the doorpost. The open doors of heaven. The deliverance from Egypt. And this is what He furnishes for us. The fruit of the Spirit. He furnishes us love and joy and peace and goodness and temperance and faith. So they should have asked, what can the devil put on the table? Instead of saying, what can God do? They need to say, what can the devil do? And this is what Paul said the devil can do. The works of the flesh are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath. The devil can put a lot on the table. Seditions, heresies, envyings, murderings, drunkenness, revelings, the such alike. Paul said, of the which I tell you, as I told you in time past, they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. That means you can't sit down at both tables. You get to choose one table. So I choose today the table. Because you see, David just didn't write Psalm 78. David wrote another psalm. And it sort of went like this. The Lord is my shepherd. I made up my mind. I made up my choice. Because you see, David just didn't spend all his life in the luxury of his palace. He spent a lot of days out there in the wilderness. He spent a lot of days in the cave. He spent a few years walking the dusty road. But he said, somewhere along that path, I decided to write a song. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. I know God's going to take care of me. He leadeth me. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Yea, though I walk to the valley of the shadow of death, that's the wilderness, I will fear no evil, for Thou art with me. Thy rod and Thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest me a table. David said, I found out something. If I trust God, He will prepare me a table. Somebody asked the question, can God furnish a table? David said, I'll give you the answer. Yes, He can. I shall not want. Everything I need is on there. Everything I want is on there. Because God not only can, He not only will, but He does prepare a table in the wilderness. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that table. He will put it right in the presence of all of my enemies. When I'm surrounded by the Philistines, when Goliath is on one side and the enemy is on the other side, I can sit down at the table of the Lord and I can have some joy. I can have some hope. I can have some faith. I can have some goodness. I can have some expectancy, because Thou anointest my head with oil and my cup is running over. I may be in the wilderness, but my cup is running over. I may be in the wilderness, but I'm eating angels' food. I may be in the wilderness, but God has filled my cup to overflowing. Somebody give Him praise right now. Somebody give Him praise right now. Yes, He can furnish a table. Yes, He can prepare a table. It all started with David saying, I made up my mind, the Lord is my shepherd. I'm going to follow Him. I'm